Okay, I don't want to brag too much, but it turns out I kind of nailed it. A few days ago, I shared a video talking about how the increasing number of men reporting these negative feelings and mental health issues, the male loneliness epidemic, and this perception that the world hates them, seems to be primarily fed to them by other men and male-dominated media, the manosphere. The patriarchy itself and spaces in which this idea of traditional masculinity is growing and more rampant. And as it turns out, I'm not that far off the mark. According to this brand new study that just came out, literally a few days ago, I didn't realize it was out when I made that video. I swear to God, I didn't plan it this way. But while it doesn't explicitly say exactly what I was saying, it does basically confirm a lot of it. The crux of the issue being that yes, men are completing self-removal at higher rates than women. However, research shows that they are more likely to do so if they identify strongly with traditional masculine roles. So I decided to look at the actual study itself rather than just the article summarizing it. And the way they describe these traditional masculinity ideologies, or TMI, is kind of interesting. They specify these beliefs are culturally and socially defined constructs that during their conceptualization prior to the early 1960s served to assert men's dominant position in a hegemonic and patriarchal society. Thus, typical TMI portray men as physically strong, in control, and in contrast to behaviors traditionally viewed as feminine. Sounding kind of familiar. So basically, they looked at a few different studies and found that, men with strong TMI to be about 2.4 times more likely to self-remove. Some core concepts of TMI are also in direct conflict with help-seeking behavior. This isn't groundbreaking, but this is also kind of related to another post I made a couple days ago. Men with high TMI and conformity to masculine norms, or CMN, exhibit more negative attitudes towards help seeking. They also point out that it's not just about men with strong TMI, it's also more specifically living in an environment that fosters the need to conform to restrictive TMI that may lead some men to see removal as the only viable way out of their state. Oh, and by the way, at another point when they're talking about when these harmful ideologies came about, they specify prior to second wave feminism, because second wave feminism helped men with these things. You're welcome. Dismantling the patriarchy does not just help women, it absolutely helps men too. So while the study may be looking at this through a slightly new framing or lens, none of this should be particularly surprising to anyone. This pattern and correlation has been replicated and observed time and time again. They refer to several data sets and studies, one of which found that a loss of status is more likely to result in depression symptoms and self-removal attempts in men with higher rates of TMI. The fact is, it's traditional and hypermasculinity and the spaces that are propagating it that are uniquely harming men's mental health, not women.